Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Young and the Restless. Is Sharon wasting her time pining for Nick ex-hubby? Doesn't he want reunion? The Young and the Restless Y&R spoilers reveal that Sharon Case recently had a dream that Nick Newman Joshua Morrow finally told her all the things she's been longing to hear. In a special Valentine's Day episode, Sharon had a sleepy fantasy that involved Nick's forever love profession along with some sizzling kisses and dancing. Nick even agreed to move back in with Sharon on the ranch, so she was on cloud nine until her bubble finally burst. Once Nick disappeared and Sharon woke up to reality, she realized Nick didn't make that grand reunion pitch after all. Of course, there's no denying that Nick still loves Sharon and would do anything for her. It's just a matter of what that love really means to Nick and whether he wants their relationship to become more than platonic. It's possible that Nick will suddenly start showing romantic interest in Sharon again, but he's not doing that at this point. Everything that Y&R's showing in that department is happening on Sharon's end. With all that in mind, we have to ask, is Sharon wasting her time pining for Nick? Does Sharon's ex-hubby not want a reunion? There's a chance that all this build-up won't end in Sharon falling into Nick's arms and ultimately his bed. Maybe Sharon will have to settle for enjoying their reunion in her dreams and not in her actual life. It might be a situation where Sharon's clinging to what's familiar and safe on some level. Unfortunately, Nick may not be interested in going back down that road with Sharon, especially since it should ruin their strong friendship if it doesn't work out. If Sharon tries to voice her true feelings and get back together with Nick somewhere down the line, she may face a tough rejection. Our predictions hint that Nick and Sharon's storyline may not go according to Sharon's plan, so stay tuned for updates on what's in store for these two. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon may hold out hope for some Nick reunion news, but there are no guarantees that she'll get her wish. Sharon Newman has been through her fair share of heartache and tumultuous relationships. Her journey through Genoa City has been anything but easy, marked by a roller coaster of ups and downs in her personal life. One of her most significant, yet fraught relationships, has been with Nick Newman, her ex-husband. Despite their many attempts to rebuild their connection over the years, fans are left wondering, is Sharon wasting her time holding on to the idea of a reunion with Nick? After all, he's moved on and seems uninterested in rekindling their romance. So why does Sharon keep pining for the impossible? Sharon and Nick's relationship has always been one of the cornerstones of The Young and the Restless. Their love story began as a fairy tale, two young souls who seemed destined for each other, their chemistry undeniable. Over the years, they shared many milestones, from their early marriage to the birth of their children. However, their relationship has never been free from complications. From Nick's infidelities to Sharon's struggles with mental health, their connection has weathered storm after storm. But even with all the history they share, there's a sense that their time together has come to an end. In recent years, Sharon has found herself grappling with her feelings for Nick once again. Despite the rocky past and the pain of their failed marriage, she still holds a place in her heart for him. The idea of a rekindled romance seems appealing, especially in light of Sharon's ongoing struggles in her personal life. She's been through so much, and Nick has always been a source of comfort and familiarity. But is she simply clinging to a dream of what could have been, rather than accepting the reality of the situation? On the other hand, Nick appears to have moved on. His relationship with Sharon has been cordial, but it's clear that he's no longer interested in a romantic reconciliation. In fact, he seems content with the way things are, particularly with his new family dynamic with Phyllis Summers. Nick's heart no longer seems to belong to Sharon, and his focus has shifted to building a life with Phyllis. As much as Sharon may want to believe that Nick is her soulmate, his actions tell a different story. He's not pursuing her, and he's not expressing any desire to go back to the past. For Sharon, this might be a harsh pill to swallow, but the truth is staring her in the face. It's not as if Sharon doesn't deserve happiness. She's a strong, compassionate woman who has overcome so much, and she deserves to find love and fulfillment. However, is she wasting precious time and energy on a man who has already moved forward? Sharon has so much potential, and there are other relationships in her life that could be just as meaningful. Yet, she continues to yearn for Nick's affection, perhaps because he represents a sense of stability and familiarity in her tumultuous world. But is that enough? There's also the question of what Sharon really wants from Nick. Is it simply closure, or is she looking for a renewed sense of purpose in their relationship? It's possible that Sharon is holding on to the hope that, one day, Nick will realize that they belong together and return to her. But this is an idealized version of their relationship, one that may never come to fruition. It's essential for Sharon to ask herself whether she's waiting for something that may never happen, or if she's simply afraid to let go of the past. Perhaps the real issue is Sharon's inability to move on from the past. It's clear that she's still emotionally tied to Nick, even if he doesn't feel the same way. This connection to him may be preventing her from fully embracing the present and the future. It's easy to hold on to something familiar, especially when life feels uncertain. Sharon has had her fair share of emotional scars, and the thought of moving on to something new might be overwhelming. It could be that she feels she has to continue hoping for a reunion with Nick because it offers her a sense of security. But in doing so, she's potentially closing herself off from new possibilities, relationships, and growth. Furthermore, Sharon's fixation on Nick may also be an emotional crutch. She might find comfort in focusing on the idea of a lost love rather than confronting her own fears and uncertainties. Sharon has had her share of setbacks, including the heartbreaking loss of her son, Cassie, and the toll that has taken on her emotional well-being. With such deep wounds, it's easy to see why Sharon might want to cling to the hope of a happy ending with Nick. But in reality, Nick is no longer that happy ending for her. He's moved on, and Sharon needs to find the strength to do the same. While it's understandable that Sharon may have lingering feelings for Nick, it's important for her to recognize when it's time to let go. Holding on to the past can be emotionally draining, and it's possible that Sharon is losing sight of the opportunities around her because she's so focused on something that no longer exists. She's a woman who deserves love and happiness, but she can't find it by staying stuck in a relationship that no longer serves her. As Sharon continues to navigate her life in Genoa City, it's crucial for her to find peace within herself and stop waiting for Nick to change his mind. It's time for her to accept that their romantic relationship is over and to focus on her own growth and healing. Sharon's journey is far from over, and there are still many chapters to be written. She deserves to embrace her future with open arms, free from the baggage of a relationship that no longer holds the promise of happiness. In the end, Sharon must ask herself the tough question: is she really waiting for Nick to come back, or is she simply afraid to move forward? She has the power to create her own future, one that's not defined by her past with Nick. It's time for Sharon to let go of the idea of a reunion and start living for herself. She deserves to be loved, cherished, and appreciated for the amazing woman she is, whether that comes from Nick or someone new.